And thank you so much for inviting me here. And I'm greatly honored to be here today. And I want to thank you, this wonderful audience, for coming out tonight. I'm here to present our research about Ukrainian agriculture during the wartime, carried out under the guidance of Professor Robert Finger. To start, I would like to share a personal story about my grandfather, of whom I am very proud, just as you might be proud of your grandparents or parents. My grandfather grew up in a small village and worked hard in his fields. He spent most of his life working on the large Soviet Union farm, except for 10 years in exile in Siberia. Even after he retired, he continued to work on his small farm, where I spent all my school holidays during my childhood. He had never seen a foreigner. He had never worked with computers. Yet in this simplicity, my grandfather possessed a wisdom that transcended time. In 1990s, he looked at me and said, "Marina, you have to learn English and computers to become a successful professional." At that time, it seems like unusual advice given his lack of contact with the modern world. Little did I know then, 30 years later, his foresight would prove remarkably accurate. I'm here today because of my grandfather's wisdom. His words guide me every day as I face the challenges of the 21st century. And his story is not just about him. It represents many dedicated Ukrainian farmers who worked tirelessly in all kinds of conditions to tend the land that sustain us. And I would like to share with you the stories of these modern-day heroes, the champions of Ukrainian agriculture. Their resilience in the face of challenges, their commitment to the land, and their ability to adapt times in nothing short of inspiring. And we look at the pre-war stage, its resilience during the conflict, the impact of military actions, and also the agriculture problems caused by the war, and agriculture policy, also international support, and the current state of Ukrainian agriculture. Finally, we'll look at the essential elements for the post-war development of Ukrainian agriculture. And why this topic could be interesting for you. I believe all of you would like to have good quality food for yourself, your family, today, tomorrow, and in the future. And Ukraine is one of the solutions to provide this food. Could you please guess how much larger is Ukrainian agriculture compared to the entire territory of Switzerland? You can scan the QR code, please, right now, and answer this question. Let's guess. For those who are in Zoom, you will find I hope, you will find the link for voting in chat. 2 times more, 5 times, 10 times, or 42 times. ISP group should know this. Did we have the answers? Okay. I don't know. And for now, I will not show you answers. For the next question, I will answer you. But for this, the correct answer is 10 times more. Could you imagine Switzerland and Ukrainian agricultural land? It's 10 times more than entire territory of Switzerland. And Ukraine has capacity estimated to be enough to feed almost the entire Europe. It is often referred to as the bread basket, with the capacity to feed 400 million people and more. Could you imagine this? And it is important to highlight the central role that Ukrainian agriculture played in the country economies before the war. Its contribution was substantial, accounting for 10% of the country's GDP and 41% of total exports. The agriculture sector employed 6 million people. Ukrainian agriculture was focused on crop production, which accounted for 81.4% of the sector's output, with animal production accounting for the remaining 18.6%. Ukrainian agriculture has a dual structure, with 4 million households which produce 55% of the gross output, and more than 39,000 of agriculture enterprises which produce 45% of the gross output. The largest proportion of the land, 25%, is cultivated by farm of between 1,000 and 5,000 hectares. More than 5 million hectares are cultivated by large agroholdings with a land bank of more than 5,000 hectares. Before the war, the largest agriculture holding in Ukraine had a land bank of more than 500,000 hectares. Major crops of Ukrainian agriculture include cereals, sugar beet, sunflower, potato, vegetables, and fruits and berries. And you can see growth trends in the production of several crops, highlighting Ukraine's developing role as a major contributor to a global agriculture production. And Ukrainian agriculture has become fully self-sufficient in meeting the food needs of the population. This has also paved the way for significant exports of agricultural commodities such as sunflower oil, wheat, barley, and corn. You can see that Ukrainian agriculture covers more than 50% of world exports in 2021 of sunflower oil. Also, close to 9% for wheat, more than 11% for barley and corn, and more than 9% for rapeseeds. And then the Russian invasion of Ukraine began on 21st February 2022. In the initial phase, spanning from February 24th to the end of March 2022, the war's footprint was extensive, encompassing regions such as Zaporizhia, Kyiv, Zhytomyr, Chernihiv, Donetsk, Crimea, and so on. And this led to widespread destruction of production facilities, infrastructure, and logistical disruption. The sector faced feed shortages, farm closures, and damage to transport networks. To address this issue, fiscal measures such as flexible tax regimes and regulatory changes such as the DIA portal were introduced to restore stability. Moving on the next period, between April and August 2022, the liberation of regions such as Kyiv, Zhytomyr, Chernihiv, and Sumy marked a crucial turning point. However, the gains were accompanied by seed-proceeding operation, disrupted logistics, resource shortages, and labor shortages. During this period, initiatives such as the Grain initiative were signed and the State Agriculture Register was launched. International assistance, including EU support for small farmers and FAO's rapid response, played an important role in supporting farmers. In addition to fighting on the front line, Ukraine also experienced attacks on energy infrastructure from September to December 2022. During this period, the city of Kherson also was successfully liberated. The agriculture sector suffered setback during the period, with damage to energy infrastructure and market-related challenges. Key difficulties included problems with the processing and storage of agriculture products, shortages of seeds and essential resources, depressed grain prices on the domestic market, and limited access to foreign market. And as we move into 2023, the battles for Bakhmut and ongoing attacks continue to affect the agriculture landscape. Challenges remain due to resource constraints and export restrictions. Farmers in neighboring countries were dissatisfied with the transit of Ukrainian grain, exacerbating problems. Key issues included limited finance affecting operations and export restrictions limited potential opportunities. International cooperation, including aid from FAO, UASAZ, and the Japanese government, helped provide essential seeds and fertilizer to sustain spring and winter crops. The period from May to August 2023 will see notable events, including the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam and a counter-offensive by the Ukrainian armed forces. At this time, the sector has faced many challenges. The destruction of the Kakhovka Dam had far-reaching consequences, affecting irrigation systems that are crucial for agricultural productivity. It's important to note that the Grain Initiative, which had previously provided significant support, was not extended beyond 17 July 2023. And this decision created new challenges and required the farming community to adapt to the new circumstances. New harvests and insufficient capacity to store agricultural products added to the complexity and underlined the needs to find innovative solutions. During this period, a joint initiative between FAO and the government of Japan and Norway aims to support small farmers during the planting season by providing wheat and barley seeds. And during the current period, from September 2023 to the present day, the Ukrainian armed forces have been engaged in a counteroffensive. There have also been attacks on seaports and storage facilities and Ukrainian cities. Key challenges remain, including limited export opportunities, low domestic prices, and product storage difficulties. At the same time, farmer strikes in neighboring countries have added to the complexity. And to address this issue, efforts have been made, such as the establishment of a verified list of agro-industrial complex units exporting various products. In addition, European Union support has been extended to producers of geographical indications. Our research has highlighted key challenges in Ukraine's agriculture sector due to the war. Resource scarcity is a pressing issue, putting pressure on key inputs and productivity. Logistics and supply chains are disrupted, including blocked Black Sea ports and damaged storage facility. And also market dynamics are shifting, reshaping domestic and international markets and requiring innovative strategies. Also, labor shortages are testing our workforce in unprecedented circumstances. And contaminated land adds environmental complexity impacting resources and livelihoods. Also, financially, Ukrainian damage is accounted for more than $40 billion in 2022. But this is not the end. And in face of the challenges of war, Ukrainian farmers showed a high degree of resilience. They continued to produce agriculture products even in occupied territories or in the wounded fields. And agriculture production fell during the war, including, for example, 29% drop in grain crops, a 9% drop in oilseed, and as unbelievable, it's a modest 9% recovery in sugar beet. Also, there were drops in the production of meat, milk, and eggs, and others. And agriculture exports show considerable fluctuation for different commodities through the war period. The grain agreement, which was in force from July 2022 to July 2023, had a significant impact on farmers' export during this period. After the agreement expired, Ukrainian farmers shifted to using the Danube ports, which led to a significant increase in export to 7 million tons in December 2023. And despite challenges, 2023 saw increased physical exports of agriculture products. However, revenues fell due to lower prices compared to the previous year, which saw record high global food prices in 2022. Current export levels are insufficient for the entire 2023 harvest, raising the risk of significant carryover stocks, particularly for cereals. The situation exacerbated by low local market prices and costly export logistics, and posed financial challenges for Ukrainian farmers. It's therefore vital to explore all available channels to increase export volumes and ensure that the entire harvest is exported before the start of the new season. We would like to emphasize the urgency of several measures in the immediate horizon. First is facilitating resource availability. Second, improving logistical efficiency and expanding access to global market. Looking further ahead, it is clear that sustainable progress will require a multifaceted approach, reintegrating displaced people and strengthening support for small and medium enterprises, fostering global market integration, maintaining environmental sustainability, and promoting technological advancement are emerging as indispensable elements in cultivating a resilient agriculture sector. Our findings provide a panoramic view of Ukrainian agriculture, a sector that has stood resilient amid adversity. We identified challenges stemming from the disruption of resources, logistical complexities, market limitation, and labor shortages, all precipitated by the war. We saw proactive farmers and adaptive response from the government. Ukraine's agriculture sector is not only essential to its own recovery and growth, but also has global significance. And we are at the crossroads where international cooperation and strategic policy making can pave the way for the survival and sustainable recovery of this vital sector. And as a scientist, we are now focusing on the following projects. First, digital transformation of the agriculture sector for sustainable development. Second, we now work together with ISP Group and Agroscope, harmonization of Ukrainian agriculture policy with the CAP framework. Also, the next project which we are going to do is with Mapping Ukraine. Thank you for this. Mapping damage assessment and recovery scenarios for war-affected agricultural land in Ukraine. Also, we launched the digital agriculture food hub in Ukraine with Ukrainian enterprises and technology companies. And last week, we started the Secure Food Horizon project. And now, I have a question for you. How can we work together to support Ukrainian farmers through the war and help rebuild a sustainable agriculture future in Ukraine? Let's brainstorm. Please scan QR code and write your answers. And the answers we will show this time.
Yes, technology and regenerative agriculture.
Can we ask questions in between?
Yes, of course.
Can you say something about distributional effects of the war? You showed us that large heterogeneity of farmers with quite a few large farms, but also very small farms. Can you say something about the impact on the different types of farms with respect to the war?
Yes, of course. Would you like to have my answer for now or later? Okay, Okay, I could answer. Yes, you know that we have, but I would like, okay, I will not show. We have, as I mentioned, we have dual structure. We have 4 million households and we have more than 39,000 of Ukrainian enterprises. And they suffered a lot. It's not depends of the size of enterprises. It's most depend on the territory in which they are. Because if they are on the eastern Ukraine, they are suffered a lot. They could be occupied. A lot of them was destroyed, and so on. And for big agriculture holdings, they had some resources and reserves for first year. But now, no. And also, I mentioned that the biggest agro holdings had 500,000 hectares before the war. And now they try to have less land, and because they have not so many sources for this. And they lost a lot. So it's like Ukrainian farmers suffered as like small size and also medium sized and large sized. They suffered a lot from the war. It could be different problems because, for example, for small farmers, they have already their own market because small farmers usually they work for internal market. But bigger farmers, they usually work for export. And so they have different problems. As big agro holdings, they have not possibility to export their grain. And small agriculture farmers, they cannot, they have really very low prices for their products. So it's different situation, but all of them suffered from this. Okay, and I think we can find... Doesn't work? I can read. We have support. Okay, buy Ukrainian products, information exchange, buy Ukrainian products, support Ukrainian army, buy feed for our animals from UA, more secure ways to transport the solidarity, invest in Ukrainian agriculture, asking Ukrainian farmers their needs, communication channels, improving nearshoring logistics between UA and EU, to rethink Soviet monocultural agriculture, industrial hemp assets backed by military grade, information exchange, solidarity labeling. We need to restart training programs for agriculture college students in EU and Switzerland, help get Russia out of Ukraine, invest in EU agriculture value chains, and campaigns to secure the land. Okay, thank you so much. We have a lot of different answers, and we can think about this. And I found few times answer to buy the Ukrainian products. I think it's the easiest way to support Ukrainian farmers, even from here, from everywhere. And do you know what Ukrainian products you can find in Swiss supermarket? Okay, we can find buckwheat. Actually, I have the example of this. It's from Co, and it's bio. I will not read in German. It's buckwheat. Yeah. And who would like to try it, and who would like to buy this, and who is going to try this and to support Ukrainian farmers? For now, you know already. Who is going to support Ukrainian farmers by buying? Okay, but for now, you have first to try, and if you like, and can you, Oleg? First, now you have possibility to try. Далеко, Настя, ходити. And I hope you will like this, and the next time you will come to Ukraine, to Swiss market, and you will buy. But it's not all the products. Do you know some more products which we can buy? Okay, and what else? Okay, I have one more example. For example, you can buy this very nice cookie set from which you can, it's also written here that it's made in Ukraine. And from this, you can make a very nice very nice cookies house. And I saw the person who is interested in this, and you can take this and you can try. In Migros. In Migros. Yeah. Hope on this time you will try to. It's for you. You are the most interested person on these products, that's why. So, yes, I think from now, you know, even two products. Also, you can buy the sunflower oil, but you need to really search for this. And now you know that the easiest way just to buy these products, and then you can support this. By buying these products, you can support Ukrainian farmers. Also, to deepen the conversation about building a sustainable agriculture future in Ukraine, I would like to invite you to the event at the Collegium Helveticum on 5th February, and where we will discuss more about Ukrainian agriculture. And I believe that Ukraine has great potential and can help save the world from hunger. Many countries are afflicted by hunger today. Unfortunately, many people overlook it while they still have the chance. However, it will reach a point where we cannot ignore it any longer. And we need to take the action now before it's too late. At this point, I would like to thank you so much for extending this opportunity to stand in front of you right now and share with you the story of brave, smart, and resilient Ukrainian farmers. And stay safe and stand with Ukraine. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I can answer.
I will come with me a microphone, but it's for recording.
Okay, it's okay. No, it's not clear to me if Ukraine manages to produce as much as it needs at the moment for agriculture. So, I mean, people who have to...
People in Ukraine, they have enough food.
They have enough food?
Yes. It could be different quality. It could be not enough food in diversification, for example. It's like, but the main products, wheat, corn, sunflower oils, we have this. And meat also, eggs, we have enough food. And before the war, I didn't mention that Ukraine produced some products for 3 times more than Ukraine needs. Also, what we have for now, more than 8 million people left the country. Also, that's why we have less consumers on our market. So Ukraine has not any problems to feed these people. Yeah.
But could you tell us also something more about the grain agreement? Because I haven't understood how is this kind of
okay. Grain agreement, it was agreement between Russia and not directly to Ukraine, but through the other countries. Russians allowed for Ukrainian grains to cross the Black Sea. But it didn't work very well. For example, you can see, I will show you, and I will. You can see here that it started something in July 2022, and then the export growth a little bit, and then till July. But here you have also not so many exports here. And then, Russia just, they said, if you need the grain agreement, you have to do this and this and this. It was like manipulative conversation. It was not clear. And then the Russians stopped this agreement, and from July 2023, you have here it's huge drop, and then we started to find the other ways, and now it works without grain agreement. So Ukraine for now does not need. Ukraine for now does not need some allowance from the Russian that they need to cross the Black Sea. It's because of, first, the Ukrainian farmers use Danube ports, because first it was come from Odessa and from Mykolaiv. And now they used another way. They created this way, they built ports on the river Danube, and then they use these ports to export. And also why it comes, because our army, they started to fight in the sea, and some ships was destroyed. And so now Russia lost their power in Black Sea. That's why.
Yeah, thanks. I have one question also regarding the exports. Did Ukraine, before the war, did they only exported raw products or also processed food?
Not. Ukraine exported, and for now also, Ukraine exported mainly crops, wheat, corn, barley, and also rapeseeds and sunflower. Its main crop, its main products. And now in Ukrainian policymakers, they started to think that we need to have something like the food processing. And also now we have the strategy is on the process, and on that strategy is first line for the agriculture, it's food processing improvement. So it's like in the strategy, and also some agro holdings, they built some production for food processing during the war, and they started to adopt to this. Yeah, but usually it's like Ukraine is for grain export, not for other products.
Yes, I have a question regarding the connection of food production and export with GBT. What kind of, maybe you say what is your perspective, how we can optimize, rethink, improve this food production agriculture, that it brings more economical value to the country, and also in relation to ecological aspect. I mean, what is the percentage of like cultivated land in relation to wild land in Ukraine, and also what is your research outcome regarding this? Are we already cultivated a lot, and what would be the strategy for us in this case? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First, you can see this trend before the war, and it was like growth trends in the production of crops. But this was extensive growth. It was not some technical or something like in yield. And in my point of view, we don't need to use all this land to plant and for agriculture. We can use this, we can optimize this. And while we came to the EU, we need to do this in whatever. So I think we can produce more, but in more efficient way. And speaking of GDP, we can produce more by food processing, by using but more valuable products, and so on. So it should be some strategy, and we have to think about this. Which product to use, and which product to plant, which product to sell, and so on. Because we can use our land, and for now, for example, just 1 week ago, one expert told me, while I didn't mention about the land market, we have a lot of situation now with that in Ukraine. But while our agro holdings farmers, they are not owners of their land, they will not care about this land. They will use this extensively, and they will not make some technical innovation or something like that, because for them it's easy just to use this land without any thinking about the future of this land. So I think it should be some strategy, and we have to think about this. And speaking of what percentage of land, it's close to 70% of agricultural land of whole territory. And for example, we have for forest something like 15%. So yes, we have to think about our future, about our resources, and about efficiency in agriculture. Yes, but in Zoom, people could not hear you.
Yeah, thank you for the chance to ask a question. So I saw there's some super new regulations depending on industrial and medicinal hemp. So what do you think about, or what do you know about, like the regulations, the ongoing regulation about industrial hemp as well as medicinal?
Speaking of industrial, I am not expert in industrial things. So we have, like in Ukraine, about regulation, about food processing, we have something, and government would like to push enterprises to make something, to build something for food processing. And they support Ukrainians in this. But for industrial, it's like something different. If you ask, okay, you can ask further question if you just.
Thanks for the answer. Also, of course, like with as well as with medicinal and industrial hemp, you can use the whole crop for like hemp seeds. So which also we do this already in Switzerland. We use the hemp seeds for like food. Contains like lots of omega-3 amino acids and egg white, whatever. So, but it's a new thing. I'm aware of this. It's like it's regulated worldwide right now, everywhere. And so, but there's lots of like foods as well as rich foods within the processing of like industrial as well as medicinal hemp.
Okay, I think it's the good point that Swiss scientists and Swiss industry could share the knowledge with Ukrainians, and then this will be the win-win situation, because Ukraine has very cheap sources, and Switzerland has very, very interesting and new technologies. So it could be the win-win situation for Ukraine and for Switzerland. Yeah.
We have a question on Zoom.
Okay.
Even two questions, okay. Good evening. What perspectives of Ukraine-Switzerland trade of agri-food product enlargement during next 5 years? Thank you.
This is very good point, very good question. And I would like to invite to hear the answer to this question to 5th February in Collegium Helveticum, because there it will be the expert of agri-trading. He works in Switzerland and he is Ukrainian, and he knows the best everything about this. So please welcome to the 5th February at 4 o'clock in Collegium Helveticum. Also in Zoom we will have this, and you will have everything.
And the second question, is anyone analyzing how the global policy instruments apply to Ukraine in these days? In particular, the FAO, CFS guidelines on governance of land tenure and the framework for action for food security and nutrition in protracted crisis. Could this be a research gap or opportunity?
I also will read, because the global policy instruments apply to Ukraine in this. Ukraine has its own policy, agriculture policy, so like nobody could have impact on this. But on the other case, we have now, as I mentioned, the strikes, farmer strikes in Europe. And this because in my point of view, it's common agriculture policy caused these strikes. It's not about Ukraine, but it's about the common agriculture policy. And this situation caused the problems for Ukrainian farmers. And I think it should be some negotiation between Ukrainian and EU politicians, and we have to find the best solution. But on the other hand, it's a very good point in which we have to think about our future, because when we have the accession to EU, we have to join EU, and we have to also to have common agriculture policy. And common agriculture policy, in one hand, it will not work for Ukrainian agriculture, and on the other hand, it will not work in this case for European Union. So we have to change this in future. So I think we have this research job and opportunity to think about this. Any other questions?
Okay, hello. Marina, thank you so much. It's a very instructive and beautiful presentation. Thank you. I have a question which bothers me. You already alluded towards it in the previous answer. So it's about this on and off blockage on the Ukrainian and EU border. You know, and some people say that this blockage is due to inexpensive agriculture from Ukraine that flood the market. I don't know. I don't know why this blockage. Can you comment on it? Is it more like a political thing? Is it more like economical aspect of it? And how can we eventually solve it once and for all? Thank you.
Yeah, we have, first of all, like to have a clear answer, we have to research this topic. But like I can just guess. And first, if we think about Belgium, for example, about Germany, it's nothing about Ukraine. But if we think about Poland, Romania, and Slovakia, it could, and Hungary as well, it could be also, it was not the main reason, but it was the starting point for farmers. And what we have had in 2022, we had the highest prices for agriculture products. And I think it's only my opinion that European farmers in neighboring countries, they expected the high prices, but market, they are really very flexible. And then when the price decreased, they was not very happy with that. And they thought, okay, this is because of Ukrainian farmers. Yes, in some point, yes, because they had a lot of grains, of course, and if traders saw the cheap grain, they will buy this. It's obvious, and it's like competition. But it's not only about Ukraine. It's about global price, it's about competition, it's about not efficient common agriculture policy. So we have a lot of things and also political things. It's not only about Ukrainian farmers. They are not guilty of everything. Yeah, but in this case, we have to think about the future when we assess to EU what we will do with these farmers, because they will not be happy with Ukrainian farmers as well, even more. So I think we have to think right now what to do in future.
Thank you. What about the 430,000 square meters of contaminated land?
Could be even more, because for now it's very difficult to estimate the real size of this land. And for now we have some projects in Ukraine, and government started to deal with this. But I think in this case we need the help from EU, from Switzerland also, and I think it's really very difficult question what we have to do with this. Yeah.
Hi. So Switzerland has about 1 million hectares of agricultural land, I think, as far as I know. So Ukraine's contaminated land is maybe half. So you produce a lot of food for the world. What happens when Russia takes over Ukraine? What happens to that sector? What would that mean for Europe or maybe for the world?
I would like not to think about this. But it's, for what now Russia is doing on the occupied fields, occupied land, they have farmers there, Ukrainian farmers, and they give them the opportunity to sell this for them, the grain for them, but it's really low prices, and they cannot survive. And also what we know that they could steal the grain, it's the fact of this, that they stolen a lot of grain. So I think for next few years, we will not see the differences, but in 10 years and more years, world could see a lot of differences because of that. So, my point of view, we have the situation when you can support Ukraine, then you have the bread basket, and you will solve the problem of hunger in the world. And it will be the win-win situation. You will help Ukraine, and Ukraine will help world to feed the people. So it seems like that for me. Okay, any other question? Okay, I think with that we can finish. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for coming out today, and thank you for invitation. And be safe and stay with Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina, for this insightful lecture and discussion. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Now everyone is welcome to Apero to continue discussion in more informal way. And don't forget about the exhibition and other events. So, yeah, thank you.